Trish King is our next speaker. And ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your seats because this woman is passionate about the value of standardized testing as a means of evaluating our children. Trish King.
We continually hear that CEOs around the country are on the lookout for creative, out-of-the-box, entrepreneurial problem solvers who can collaborate, communicate, and network effectively with others. Skills such as creativity, adaptability, flexibility, curiosity, and imagination are what business leaders crave in their new employees. And yet, we continue to spend $1.7 billion a year perpetuating standardized testing, a practice of questionable value, especially when you consider that it may be driving best teaching practices right out of our classrooms. Laszlo Bock, Senior Vice President in charge of hiring for Google, shares that these test scores and tests are worthless. They don't predict anything. In fact, in a New York Times interview, Mr. Bock said what Google looks for most in its new employees is learning ability. That in today's workplace, where jobs change so quickly, that the key to getting a job and keeping a job is the ability to learn on the fly. It's what Gary Burnison of Korn Ferry International describes as learning agility, and he says that'll get you a job anywhere. GM, L'Oreal, Facebook, Twitter, Google, learning agility. So how do you measure that on a standardized test? So Ken Robinson, you may have seen him on the TED Network, expert on creativity and education, shares he has never met a standardized child. So how are you going to develop a test that can fully measure the unique abilities of each child? Brain scientists and child psychologists share that high-stakes testing drives achievement straight down because of the fear of failure it creates. Madeline Levine, adolescent psychologist, has noticed a sharp increase in depression and anxiety among high school students who ought to be having the time of their lives and instead are sacrificing their childhood to the pressure to do more and more, including making perfect SAT scores. The SAT, you may have noticed, is under fire in our own backyard. There was an article in the Bainbridge Review in which the director of secondary ed in North Kitsap School District shared the SAT is really disconnected from what they're teaching in their classes. His counterpart at Central Kitsap said, and the cost of SAT prep has become outrageous and elitist. If you read the articles in Rethinking Schools about the 25 individuals in the work groups that drafted the standards for the Common Core, 6 were connected with test makers from the College Board, 5 with ACT, 4 with Achieve, and there was not a single teacher in the group. In the 35 members on the feedback panels, 1 classroom teacher. In the 135 members of the review panels, there was not a single K-3 classroom teacher. So, why do we listen to testing companies who stand to make a profit instead of to good teachers who will tell you that these tests provide only a very narrow profile of information and certainly are not an accurate reflection of the whole child? And let's face it, there will never be a quantitative test that can truly measure what matters most in our children. So, let's imagine if we took that $1.7 billion states are already spending on standardized testing and instead we spent it on hiring the best teachers, providing them with better resources, reducing class size, teaching to the individual, and then if we gave them the freedom to teach in the way that they know serves children best, can you imagine the revolution we would see in classrooms across this country? I became an independent school teacher partly so that I could have the freedom to teach as I knew worked best for kids. I became an independent school administrator to make sure every teacher in my school had that freedom too. This island has some of the best teachers you're going to find anywhere in any school, public or private. if you give them the freedom to teach in the way that they know serves children best, and give them the resources to do their jobs, can you imagine the passion we would ignite for learning on this island? And then we will create people who can learn on the fly, change with the jobs, who are creative and confident, who have book learning and social emotional learning. We will create people of the future. And those are the people I want to hire. How about you?
Mm-hmm.